we have Anja Hintermeier. She is Head of New Business and Venture Development at Vienna's Utility. Hi, Anja.
We know the huge topics of Vienna. We are very close to the city of Vienna. We have to work in the intersection of what makes strategically sense, but at the end also brings results, of course. I think Vienna is still focusing on being livable, with this also achieving the climate goals. Now we see, I guess, a general shift in retarding them, not being as strict also in terms of regulation also from EU side, but you're still sticking to what we want to achieve. Climate neutral Vienna, climate neutral energy supply to Vienna. And I think especially in COP30, there was also the outcome that we need tech in order to achieve climate transition. I think this was one of the clear messages there.
Let's talk about tech. Let's talk about tech.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About Tech, your podcast on venture capital and private equity, brought to you by Venionaire Capital. Today with me is a very special guest. We have Anja Hintermeier. She is Head of New Business and Venture Development at Vienna's number one utility, or Vienna's utility itself, because I think it's actually government owned, but we'll find that out. Hi, Anja.
Hi. Hello to the audience.
Anja, was I right? This is the government utility.
Yes.
So,
We are owned by the city of Vienna.
Okay, so the city of Vienna, the utility Wien Energie,
Wien Energie.
is where you actually work and you're driving the new business.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about yourself and how did you come to the utility and this blend of innovation?
Yeah, it was actually development by itself and an interesting journey. I was kind of always driven by development, but not so much in terms of technical development. What I was always interested about was creativity, new processes, and so on. I, for example, still remember when I was a child, so it's a very vivid memory actually, that my father built out of an old vintage radio a cage for my rabbits for the garden. So I still remember this actually. And I thought, wow, we are using such an old thing and something completely new comes out of it, which I can make reuse of. So the repurposing of things with creativity. So this was always what kind of drove me in my career. I started personally with also personal journey. So I started in organizational development. Figured out quite quickly, okay, I'm more driven actually by innovation of products, and also founded my own company then at this time, and figured out, okay, there are some things which I like about corporate career, but there are also some things I really like about companies, about funding startups, about this startup environment, for example. And so my career at the end led me at the perfect position at leading the venture building department of Wien Energie. So building up startups within Wien Energie and driving for Vienna, for Wiener Stadtwerke, the energy transition, which is really a kind of fulfillment for myself. So that's where I ended up in a very, very quick story.
Very good. What was your startup about?
It was actually also very creative. I did event design and floristry for weddings, for events, and so on.
Okay.
Yes, so completely other thing than energy, but yes, was also, as I said, always development, creativity were the things which kind of led through my whole career.
I can imagine this was a good business. I mean, there's so many famous balls we have in Vienna. There's amazing big parties and flowers, and this beautiful smell of freshness is always there. So thanks for contributing to that. I'm actually one of those that really enjoy this. So now today it's not so much about flowers, right? It's about innovation, digitalization, the future markets. What does Wien Energie do in particular for innovation? What is there something tangible, right, to get a better idea what you look for?
Actually, we have quite a lot activities. First of all, there are really the innovation activities, which are very close to the core business, which are actually driven by colleagues of mine. So it's about venture clienting, working with startups directly in order to bring up new solutions or improve also the core business. And then there's also the thing we are doing, like venture building, really building up our own startups. So and this is focusing more on new markets, new clients, on a different innovation horizon as well, so that we are really able to cover core business innovation, but innovation which is kind of far away from the core. We have cooperations also with the universities. So this is actually where we have a quite broad activities on innovation in general, and where we also try to position ourselves and be prepared for the future.
Does the holding of the utility, Stadtwerke
It's
holding,
Wiener Stadtwerke, right?
but do they have multiple innovation and venture departments, or are you kind of also looking in the intersections where the energy utility, right, can work with, I don't know, the Bestattung, I don't even know what that is in English, right, and others, like other fields, right, of services?
Yes, we are actually trying to also leverage know-how from others in case there would be a venture case, for example, where this would make sense. We have one central innovation unit at Wiener Stadtwerke as well, and they also try to coordinating the innovation activities on a broader level and see also with a fund where do we need to fund also the inner activities within our Wiener Stadtwerke. So this is where it's quite of
a collaborative
approach, right?
Okay.
And I think this will even be more. So I recently talked with a colleague of mine, and we said, actually, we have so many people, so much know-how, which we could even leverage on a broader level than we do it right now.
I do certainly think that that this is a big opportunity. We've just closed a European project, Invest CEC, on circular economy with a different city of Austria, right, in our lead consortium. And here we found out that the collaboration between the different units actually leverages opportunities, but also talent, and this intersection is quite interesting. Do you have the freedom to whatever comes to your mind, or do you have set clear targets and goals by the city or Wien Energie itself?
Yeah, no, we cannot do whatever we want to, which sadly, I don't know. It's good like it is. So we really have to contribute to our results at the end, because we know that our energy models are changing. We are going in a completely decentralized energy system. So also the old revenue streams won't continue as they are right now. So this is why we focused very much on building new revenue streams on different level, and also try really to get out results, EBIT results, revenue results from what we are doing. So this is a clear target for us. And then we also have content-wise, the things we're doing at digital have to contribute to energy transition, are focusing also on energy transition in Vienna, for Vienna. So these are the kind of KPIs we are focusing on.
I've just recently spoken with a founder. They do energy storage for like little households, right? And they have a software that is incredibly smart that just sells into the grid when there is a good price.
Yes.
Would this be something where you would be investing, or is this something where you say, too close to core business, we like wilder, more disruptive solutions?
We are always kind of in the intersection, to be honest, because we still have to leverage the know-how, our assets. So this is where we are good at, and flexibility is for sure a huge topic also for us, for B2C customers, for B2B customers. So also grid stability will be a huge topic. So this is something we are looking in with different focus and in collaboration also with our core business.
What's the problem in grid stability? I always thought that we have one of the most mature grids that you can find in the world.
We have for sure a mature grid, but with the changes and even more renewables which are actually coming up, so with different.
So you basically mean when the wind is blowing, when the sun is shining, and there's more energy than you need, and this is destabilizing the grid.
This is destabilizing the grid, and it's getting even more. So when we knew our former Kraftwerke, for example,
plants,
the plants, they were producing always at the same time the amount we needed. We do not know when the sun is shining, or we at least can forecast it, but we never know how much the sun is, how strong the wind is blowing, and this is getting more and more. So the forecasting is possible, but not always easy. And so we have to find technologies and also ways to stabilize the grid again.
Mm-hmm. And would it be a solution to basically have gigantic battery storage in between and to basically take the energy that's in the grid and then sell it later? Or would you let that to the prosumers, so the producing consumers that do that on their own?
I think both is possible. In Germany, we already see activities in the Asian countries even more. I think one thing is really about the grid costs, or what we are paying right now, because there we need some new approaches. Then I think it's actually on the larger scale and also on a smaller scale. The B2C customers should also contribute at a certain time, but it's much harder, because they have to adapt their behaviors also to make this possible, or we have to steer their devices at their homes, which is not the thing which is where they feel yet comfortable in it. I think this will come, but we are not there yet.
So we have there is a clear set target until 2040. You told me, which is an economic target.
It's an economical target, right? But we are also focusing, of course, on these things where we have strategic advantage. And what we also strategically need. So we know the huge topics of Vienna. We are very close to the city of Vienna. So we know that cooling is a problem. Obviously, there are things which are quite clear, and we have to work in the intersection of what makes strategically sense, but at the end also brings results, of course, which is not always easy. We discussed before. So it's always like finding the intersection of what makes sense in strategic terms, but also, of course, brings revenues, because our main aim still as Wien Energie and Wiener Stadtwerke is provide energy, stable energy to the people who are living in Vienna, and extend these services to a certain point in terms of heating, cooling. So this will be our mission also for the future.
Is there a lot of industry moving to Vienna? So that I could imagine that a large supplier in a certain industry would increase drastically the energy demand, or is this little always and nothing you have to plan or work out with?
It's for sure always a forecasting we're doing. We're planning different scenarios, what could happen in which case. So I think forecasting is quite important actually for energy provider in terms of security and also in terms of development, because as we know, with the kind of energy supply, or with the change in plants to renewable energy, there will also be a drastically change. So we have to plan different scenarios.
Okay. We just had in Brazil, we had COP 2030. There's results. Some people say not enough. Some people say actually quite some achievements. I recognize there's different parts in the world, right, and different kinds of positionings. If you look at COP 2030, how would you say Vienna positions itself, right, as a city? And what are your takeaways from COP 2030?
I think Vienna is still focusing on being livable, but still achieving also, or with this also achieving the climate goals somehow. We see, I guess, a general shift in retarding them, not being as strict also in terms of regulation, also from EU side, like we planned earlier on. So this is one thing, but we are still sticking to what we want to achieve, climate neutral Vienna, climate neutral energy supply to Vienna. And for COP, I see many things which I actually also see for my department. I think we have to invest in digital solutions. We have to focus on things as cooling, as I already mentioned. We have to drive also, or we have to use the data actually. We have to aggregate this somehow. We are also not driving without navigation system. And I think this is what we also need in these terms. We need to know what is the data, how can we steer the data, how can we measure it, and where do we have to calibrate or where do we have to go actually. And I think this is quite important. And I think especially in COP30, there was also the outcome that we need tech in order to achieve climate transition. I think this was one of the clear messages there. We need the investments of future or larger players also in this field. And I think this is something which could also apply or is applying in my field or what I'm seeing for venture building and also for Wien Energie, Vienna in general.
You said climate neutral is a goal. I would love to understand better what climate neutral actually really means, right? I'm sure there's a few non-experts, right, also out there. What do you mean by climate neutral?
That we really get with our CO2 emissions to zero.
Yeah. Okay.
So
zero emissions. Okay. Very good insights. Thank you, Anja.
Thank you.
It was really interesting speaking with you. I certainly have learned something about the energy sector, and I remain a proud citizen of the beautiful city of Vienna. I hope you guys visit me one day. Visit us. Please come back. I hope you enjoyed this show. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.